actually thinking about specifically to the Hoffman situation, because again, like I said, been doing this long enough, had enough friends get hurt and injured. You can do everything right, and none of this is an indictment of him.
Yeah.
And he could have done everything absolutely right. And if you're just typing on your tough book, the exact same way that all of us have typed on our tough book, and somebody decided that they want to stab you, you're stabbed. That's all there is to it. And I said, like, there's no stopping that. So, no.
And that's why I stopped sending people on the bench. That's why I stopped sending people on the bench. Remember that practice?
Yeah.
We would always be like, that.
Yeah, I want you to run in the other direction.
Yeah, put them on the bench. No. I want you in the other direction. I want to be able to look in the doors, glass,
that is a great point.
I would turn at nighttime, I turn the lights off. Because when you turn the lights off at night, you can see the reflection.
Yep.
You can look right at them and see exactly what is going on in that head. And not saying that would have stopped anything, but those are why I stopped those practices. No, you ain't right on the bench, see?
Yeah, no.
I gotta get on the stretch. Yes, get your ass on the stretch and get fastened in because I got 3 to 5 seconds on you.
Yeah, and that's actually that's kind of like what I was kind of wanting to chat about somewhat, is preventable things that we could do to actually maybe stack the deck in our favor. Because again, I'll just keep saying, at the end of the day, somebody wants to stab you, you're stabbed. However, preventable things we can do to stack the deck in our favor to hopefully buy a few seconds of extra time. The making them wear their safety restraints. Like here, wear your seatbelt, because that's a barrier they have to defeat that's a barrier they have to defeat to get to you. And that can also be used as a level 1 entrance into whether or not this person's going to be dangerous or compliant. Because according to policy, and this is almost every department's policy, the patient must be appropriately restrained. So you can't just hang out on the stretcher. No, ma'am, I need you to apply your seatbelt. No, I'm not going to apply my seatbelt. Ma'am, if you don't apply your seatbelt, I can't take you to the hospital. That gives them an opening to go, well, I don't want to go to the hospital. Nice. Exits that way, good luck. And you can do that because you can say, they would not allow me to safely restrain them and take them to the hospital for their own health and safety. Cool. And that actually gives you an out to immediately kind of like test the waters. And then if they're still willing to buckle in, then that's a barrier they have to defeat whenever you actually see them doing this, because that was always a clue. The minute you hear those buckles start going click, 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 even if I'm typing, like, hey, what are you doing? Sit down. And now we know that the driver up front's been alerted that there's something going on, and I've had a chance to give verbal commands, see what's going on, key my radio. So to me, those are all good practices to do if you can do them. Like, I know there's always gray space and things like that. And the other one that honestly I like to say is combatives, man. You know, even if you're not like, you know, in the gym, you know, doing some GTL, gym tan laundry. So even if you're not doing some GTL, you can still do, you know, some combatives training and like weapons training, because if somebody's coming at you with a knife, the first rule of knife fighting is you're going to get cut. And the second rule is you want to try and control the weapon hand. You have to control the weapon hand. So before you can even counter strike them, you're going to have to trap the weapon and try to control it into a safe location or something, because it becomes a weapons fight, like hand grappling, essentially. And that's something to consider for anybody who might be watching this. Is some low-level combatives courses are excellent. Like, I know Gypstick offers Intro to Ground Fighting, and it was like an incredibly intense class, and it was very good. I took it. It'll teach like literally day 1 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, day 1 wrestling, and a little bit of day 1 dirty fighting.
Just don't ever go to the hospital's defensive, you know, evade.
Oh yeah, God. What a travesty. Evade, yes. So I don't know, are you familiar with this, Steve? Evade?
Yeah, we're taught.
Well, I've always been supported and you know, do leave when you can, but don't, because we've had people get assaulted here all the time.
Yeah.
And some people have taken it as much as they could, because sometimes there's an evade philosophy, but we've been supported when we've had bad times of, you know, feel free to evade, and when you need to fight, and you know, we'll have your back and stuff like that. And we've done martial arts classes here at my station, and that's a great class to put on, and everyone will pull out their best trick that's helped them in their life.
We used to wrestle. The Station 13, part of our workout was wrestling. Like, I remember me and Palmer used to wrestle, and Palmer had about 60 to 60 pounds on me. And me and him used to wrestle. You go a minute, you go whatever, and then you break. You know, and that goes back to the whole man thing. We've gotten away from actually testing ourselves against society. And everyone should know some type of wrestling move. I was teaching my daughter chokeholds at 2. It was like, hey, get them hooks in, choke, tight, right here. Adam's apple, cut that thing off.
Yeah.
You know, because those are the tools that you just never know.
Right.
That one little hold, or knowing how to control somebody's thumb and say, you know what, I got the thumb, I know where you're going because you don't want your thumb to come off.
Yeah.
Those little things can kind of get you. Now, you might get stabbed.
Yeah. People are going to get stabbed and mutually killed and stuff in some of those fights. But I feel like people that grew up scrappy and are naturally mean or whatever, they got the warrior mentality, they're gonna act a lot of times. But there's some people that are very meek, and you get a very mixed personality in fire EMS and nursing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so like those are the people that could really benefit just from at least a day one martial arts class of self-defense of, okay, I learned a little training, maybe I can follow that in my training.
Yep.
Because
No, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
But yeah, and always, you know, they have force multipliers, what we've talked about, using your equipment, your cell phone, your pen, your scissors. You could potentially fight all 3 unarmed men if you've got a couple good weapons.
Center punch in the hand.
And so if you're in a one-on-one fight, you know, having something is going to be way better than nothing. And just having a few gadgets on you, you know, that increases your attack power
and
a
then
lot.
the other thing is
But a lot of it's
support.
mental, being ready to make action happen.
And the other thing is support from the bottom of our pyramid to that that if I do this, if I perform this action, this life-saving action, this self-defense, that you're going to support. We've kind of built it into this culture to take abuse. I know in the hospital, supervisors built it, management has built it into the culture to take abuse just because we provide and care. Just because we are selfless individuals to say, hey, guess what? I know it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I hadn't had sleep, but I'm here for you, does not mean I'm a walking mat. And our organizations have built that into the system. Just take it. They don't know what they're doing. Take it. No. There's a level of comprehension in every single person. Unless you are truly excited, delirium, or unless you are having a manic break, there's a level of awareness.
True. And even if you're having excited delirium or a manic break, everybody's responsible for their own actions. That's the other part, is that once you go through one of these experiences, like I would like to see these people get help professionally, psychologically on the other side, but there are repercussions for their actions that have to show up. They have to be remanded from society for at least a period of time to truly evaluate them and to really force them to get help, or they have to be incarcerated. But once you assault a healthcare worker, or you assault a police officer, or you assault the fire and EMS person, and I'm literally mean assault, as in, I know what I want to do today. I'm going to walk up to this random police car and start bashing on the windows. Whenever the officer tells me no, I think I'm just going to bite him. Yo, that's a red flag, man. That's someone that should not be allowed to just meander through society freely. That's a legitimate danger. I understand, what do you do? Can you incarcerate them for X amount of time and stuff? Probably not. So,
but you can bring back some of those old things that we had of the past. Institutions.
Oh yeah, all the things they shut down and just slammed everybody onto the streets with.
Because that's why this, essentially, if you go down and get to the root of the matter, that's why this person was even presented with the opportunity to stab this paramedic in the heart, because she was on the street.
Yeah.
And that is the ultimate. The jail felt like, oh well, she has a right to a bond, but more importantly, no mental institution was even probably
Consulted,
utilized to even hold this
people
person.
like that terrorize everyone around them. And I was reading her Facebook page, the person that stabs the paramedic, and one of her posts that was recent was, your family might think you're the problem. The whole time they're the problem. Shaking my head. And they go to their family's parties. They're disruptive.
Yeah.
But they're the one, my family's the problem. It's not, and they go around, they call 911, or they go and they end up in EMS or hospitals, and they're just they cause trouble, whether it's a psychiatric disorder
Y'all help me. Y'all
or
don't wanna
it's a
help.
drug use issue. And those are the people you really need to have, you need to be aware of when you're on these calls and you recognize these behaviors of this guy is not acting normal, that person's not speaking normal. And a lot of times they ride that line of they can communicate normally, but you have to see the things of something really is off about this person.
And that's where they get dropped between either jail or mental institution is they were complying with meds for 5 days. Or this offense, man, we're booked over here.
Yeah.
We can't put them in the jail.
And
so now they're back on Highway 85 walking every gas station.
those were
undiagnosed 1013.
Those are when you might want to start thinking, I need to bring more resources, whether it's protection, more people, another agency. Like, your firefighter coat can prevent a lot of damage that would be done from a blunt or piercing incident. We have bulletproof vests from our agency we can wear. They can't stab us through that. We rarely will wear any of that, but if it's such a scary scene and you have to go to it, or you have to transport somebody, those are just some things you can think about. On top of the weapons we talked about. But I've been on scenes where I didn't want someone to be unhandcuffed because they were going so crazy, and we could maybe move them to restraints to make it more kind to them, but we can't risk that sometimes. Or when you're narcaning someone that's unconscious, they had a Greyhound bus that the guy that got Narcan ended up shooting the paramedic.
Yeah,
they didn't want his back searched.
And that's one of the things like Narcan. We should not be Narcaning people in the field unless it is to save their life. That's the one that you hit on to me that was super important, because you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah,
we've taught that. No, we need to we Narcan, reverse it. Nah. Do you see this environment? You see this trailer? You see this trailer we're in right now? You see these random cats and pissed off carpet, and you see all this?
There's a safer place for most things to happen.
Let's do this somewhere else. There's a lot of things that y'all
pockets
still
have been
do.
pockets have been searched, bags have been moved away.
Now let's wake him up.
Yeah.
And like you said, I remember when the vest first showed up, and that's the other thing about is that with me, as far as my safety and how I go about it, I don't put my pride into it. But I remember being here when they first introduced the vest, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is bullshit. I ain't wearing no vest." But no, it's 2025.